and this is the first, or actually it's not the first, but it is one of the many recorded collabs that will be hopefully uploaded to the YouTube. Should I remember it by the end of midterms? All right. Hello everybody. My name is Markiplier. If you guys care to introduce yourselves, just let everyone know what's going on today.
Yeah, my name is Markiplier, and today we're going to be doing audio and writing collab. We're going to be taking things lyrically.
Oh yeah. Oh, give me a second. Actually, I forgot to share on the screen. I'm so sorry. I apologize. No one on the recording will know. We're just gonna be talking heads, like the band.
Oh my god!
Oh my god. Oh. Hello, welcome in. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So this is our writing and audio workshop. We're gonna be taking things lyrically. We're gonna be covering how to write lyrics in game soundtracks, and yeah, I think that's about it. We can just go ahead and get started. So if you, Haley, if you mind. Where's the mouse? There we go. Yes. So we got a couple of QR codes to scan as well, your typical attendance check-in code. And also, we are technically collaborating with the strike department. You'll see why in a little bit. But we have over here the strike directory that is available for anyone in the club to use. It is full of art assets as well as sound effects and music for you to be able to put into any of your games in the future. It is a pretty powerful resource, and I would highly recommend it for any project that you may be struggling to get like help. It's a pretty powerful resource, and I do highly recommend.
And for those active in Strike, keep in mind that anything that you contribute towards Strike will be added to the directory, so that anyone else in VGDC is able to access the resources.
But yeah, let's get started. Tim.
Sure. Yeah. So let's talk about song structure. Typically, songs have a verse, chorus, and a bridge, especially like a lot of pop songs and stuff. So the verse is usually placed before and after choruses. They change when the chorus does, and they are sort of like, basically the chorus is like the main part of the song you're gonna remember. So the verse is just sort of there because you don't really want to start the song with that. But some songs do. Usually they don't. Usually they start with the verse. Chorus is also known as the refrain. But this is this part, it usually repeats like, I'd say 2 to 3 times in most songs. It's the easiest to sing along to, it's the catchiest, it's the one that's going to get stuck in your head. It's the one that's you're going to remember the song from. Usually I'd say the name of the song is like some lyric from the chorus as well. And then the bridge is kind of its own sort of thing. There's usually only one bridge, and it's usually completely, well, not completely, but different from the verse and the chorus. And but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, going on to genre analysis. So you can divide music into different categories depending on various factors, and these are called musical genres. Different factors impact genres, including the instrumentation of how all the different instruments are presented, the tempo, also known as the beats per minute, which should be the speed of the music. Faster music will have a higher tempo or a higher number of beats per minute. And then there's also just the song structure, which refers back to what Tim was just discussing. Genres can fall under other genres, which we call subgenres, because genres can also mix between them. There can be different specific varieties depending on how pinpoint specific you want to be with all of your descriptions. Some of these more complicated genres include indie pop, orchestral metal, breakcore, electropop, hyperpop, happy hardcore, jazztronica.
I've actually never heard of orchestral metal. Like, that sounds pretty slow, but yeah, I might look into that.
Jaden wrote those down?
Maybe.
I did not write those down.
Yeah, I don't know
Jaden.
That. Yeah.
Jaden is our unfortunate missing audio member. He is unfortunately under the weather, so we are hoping that
he's recording in Minecraft.
Yeah, just for the Markiplier channel. Feel free to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more genres than we've already mentioned, and genres can be really messy. I have a whole playlist where I just don't know what the genre is. I just like the style of music that they all have. But genres do allow you to categorize similar sounding songs with each other based on some of the examples above. As you can see, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions or have any like unique genres you guys want to mention? Like you guys maybe listen to some of the genres that we talked about here, or maybe ones that you just want to give a shout out to, like very niche ones. There's always some sort of niche genre out there that you maybe might cover something unique about its instrumentation, about its BPM. Anything you guys have in mind?
One of the that I will mention, I would say it's a mixture of like rock, but then it also has like kind of like that Spanish guitar feeling, which is jalapeno.
Yeah. Oh wait, Jalapeno is the artist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, I thought it was a
I thought it was
genre
a
too,
genre.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Interesting.
The genres.
Math rock, yeah. I guess it's kind of similar to surf rock, but instead of like having the Spanish guitar, you probably have like more bass.
Yeah, the reason why it's called there's a lot of changing time signatures. And like,
Oh, really?
usually you want to make six, let's say 8/8 interesting. You want to split into 5/8 and then 3/8. Some good stuff.
Oh, I guess that makes a lot more sense. I thought math rock was called that because like it was a genre that just so happened to be talking about academics and inspiration. I'm not gonna lie, that makes a lot more sense.
The theme of the song does not necessarily have to do with the genre of the song.
Exactly. Wish I knew that. Yeah, so yeah, we can go ahead and get moving. We'll cover some examples here with some games that like highlight both the unique genre as well as the lyrics as well. So um, we probably want to play it on there because on here the audio is just gonna kind of like mix in with both of them. So we can just do one source at a time. So we'll be covering Jump Up Superstar as our first track. So anyone watching the recording, you'll know what this song's all about. Yeah. I love this track. So really good. But yeah, as you can see, you can create a lot of like very very I guess I don't know how else to describe it other than like very energetically very hype moments. Because not only do you have the track like itself, like the composition itself is already giving you that kind of like very bombastic musical kind of energy. It's also the lyrics themselves that's like very they got a very optimistic approach because when this song plays like halfway through like the game, um, it's kind of like giving you like a sense of oh, can we go ahead and go beat Bowser? We're like halfway there across the journey. Yeah, so keep that in mind as well. In a little bit.
Yeah. Also, a good thing to note, they at the end it does the chorus and then it does a key change and then does the chorus again. That's a super common. It's like one step up, one note up from like the previous key. That's a very common thing used in a lot of songs where you can like repeat the chorus again. It sounds really good.
I didn't know that. I always wondered like why this sounds like slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on to the first song. Snake Eater.
Snake
I don't
Eater.
even know the song.
It's literally Snake Eater.
Oh.
Also the title.
It's also the title. Yeah, I can just say this right now. This song is so good. Uh, no, I haven't been playing it on this, but I think for the most part, anyone watching would probably be able to find the songs on it. And also, I'm pretty sure it is loud enough for it to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. There's no really deduction. Wow, they are a really good singer. But yeah, just some important context as well for this song. So I'm pretty sure. Okay, I have not played the game. I will admit, but I'm pretty sure that there are 2 points in the entire game where this song is played like in its entirety. Um, the first time it plays during the opening of the game where you're just first starting up the game. Um, it plays to like kind of like give you that kind of montage feel going on. Like it's like you're watching like the introduction to like any sort of spy thriller because that's kind of the whole premise of the game is you're basically conducting like a lot of espionage for the CIA. Also, another for the second point in the game, this plays right after a very one of the most like tedious bosses, but like on purpose. It's made to be tedious on purpose. Pretty sure they're called the fear or the no, it's not. That's not right. Well, which one? Which one was it? The end. Yeah. So this song plays right after the boss fight with the end, who is known to be one of the most famous snipers in the storyline in the world. And after you finally get through and like defeat him, I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Yeah. So once you finally get through and defeat the end, um, this song pops up once you get into like a little room with a ladder that you have to climb all the way up and get out at the very end. And this is like you can only hear the vocals for this song during the climb up the ladder to kind of show that Naked Snake is just thinking this throughout the whole time he's climbing up the ladder, kind of like a moment of like a moment of calm after just one of the most like I would say like very nerve-wracking battles. Since the entire time you just don't know where your enemy is, and now that he's gotten a chance to breathe, this is kind of what he's like feeling currently. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well. Anything else that you guys want to add for this track?
Not familiar with the games for context.
Okay.
Track.
All right.
Other than it's really good.
Yeah. Other than it's really good. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. I just want to check the time as well. Make sure that we're not going to. Yeah, we should be good to go. Are we good to just play like one more song, or do you think it'd be a good idea to just move? Because I think I think we have enough time for one. All right.
What do you guys want?
Yeah. What are you guys feeling?
Do you guys want to hear another song? If you do, which one?
Supersonic Racing.
Alright.
Okay. We're listening to this Supersonic Racing for those watching the film. Hello.
Your little blast is That's what you mean by choruses can be catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Honestly, it's just the fact that like like the track plays also during like after you get all of the Chaos Emeralds for the game, you unlock this special stage where you'll hear this song, obviously, and it's supposed to be like just kind of a sign of triumph as well. You can kind of think of it as like this game's version of Rainbow Road, um, but even more catchy, just because of the fact that there's no reason for them to go this hard over Sonic R of all games. But man, a good OST really makes up for the mechanics, I would say, of the game. Yeah.
I will add that there was basically no verses. It was just the chorus
Yeah.
over and over again, which that also works depending on the
Yeah.
mood and genre of the game.
Yeah, and I think it also makes sense because like this is a racing game, so you're not really like going to be able to pay as much attention to maybe you would, especially for like Snake Eater when you're climbing the ladder. Like you're there's no time to look around like in one of the lyrics, so you want to be focusing on the game as well. So that can also work. Also, I like this song. This song changes keys like a lot. It starts the very beginning, it's like a completely different key, and then it goes to like the normal one, and then it does what Jump Up Superstar does as well. It does that key change one note up and then goes to that. So that is it's a very, you don't have to do that obviously, but that is a very common thing, and it does usually sound really good.
But yeah, that's I think that's pretty much it with what we wanted to like cover. So a lot of the times genre does make up like the vibe that you want to get for your game, and having your lyrics kind of reflect that as well is a pretty good way to make sure that you can catch the player's attention when they are deciding to tune into that track. So yeah, you go ahead and walk it quick. Sorry, I just remembered I had to bring this mouse over.
Coffee, love. There we go.
Oh my god, why is it all?
Because
It's all playing.
the default setting that it plays on click, so it has to go to the
Oh,
transition of playing each of the videos.
Well, that's not very well designed. Wow.
And there's no way to turn off.
That is very frustrating. Yeah. Okay. So, of course, we all talk about like we all like just took over and like took some time to just look at these tracks, but the important question we should be asking is why lyrics in the first place? Why even include them in game soundtracks? So, we understand that genre does elevate the atmosphere of a game, right? It can serve as moments of like reprieve, like Snake Eater, or excitement, like Jump Up Superstar. But although lyrics can rarely be heard in or although lyrics can be rarely heard in like plenty of game soundtracks, the purpose of including them is not only for like enhancing the atmosphere, but it's to also serve as kind of a subliminal like narrative tool for the player. So a lot of the examples that we've shown here are somewhat reflective of like your journey as a player across the game. So of course, like Jump Up Superstar plays midway in the game, kind of showing that Mario is like still persevering against the odds of like going around the world, going on this odyssey. Snake Eater, of course, is about Naked Snake's inner thoughts throughout the game, and Supersonic Racing, of course, not the most in-depth lyrics, but it is something that is there to kind of reflect that you went out of your way to collect the Chaos Emeralds, and now here's a special stage to reward your effort. So it's a little bit reflective on your journey across the game. So go ahead and so yeah, so all of the examples shown previously use their lyrics as a means of like either recapping, foreshadowing, or expressing the inner thoughts and feelings of the characters. The power of lyrics is in its guise of catchiness for the sake of the player's engagement, right? So of course we were all like head bopping to the tracks, but the entire time it was actually tricking you into paying attention to the game's story, even if it's not like a very in-depth one. It is still something that's like getting you to like enjoy even if you aren't paying too close attention to like the games because sometimes that just happens when you just play like some game just for like fun of it and not for the story of it. So it's a good way to try to kind of trick people into thinking like, oh wow, this game's story must be really good if the songs are also really good. So yeah, I think we can move on to the writing lyrics slide. So when you are gonna go out of your way to write lyrics for your own tracks, there's some things to keep in mind as well. So first and foremost, you definitely have to decide a theme, right? Um, while the track of a song kind of determines like the kind of vibe that you want to go for. Deciding the theme of the track is also pretty important, right? So if you get something like a very catchy kind of like pop sounding song, you wouldn't want the theme to kind of be something about grief. I mean, you could. That's what Hey Ya does with like that's what Outkast did with Hey Ya, where they just took a really catchy song but wrote very um very nuanced and very depressing lyrics to listen to. You know, um, you don't want to listen, but you just want to dance kind of vibe, right? So at least remember what kind of theme are you going for that will associate with the genre of the track. You definitely also want to define your structure of the lyrics as well. Or sorry, the structure of the. Sorry, I did say that right. Never mind. I'm so sorry. You definitely want to define your structure as well. You want to make sure that you decide how many lines per verse you want to um, to write, and as well as the number of verses, right? So you could as well, you might as well like write like maybe a bunch of lines, right? But maybe they all don't really flow with each other. If you only have like 2 lines per one verse, then like another verse you have like 5 lines or something. You know, kind of want to have some sort of like consistency going. Yeah. Very important to also brainstorm your lyric ideas as well. So a lot of the times you want to use imagery and figurative language as well. You got to remember that lyric ideas also are kind of related, or writing lyrics is kind of similar to writing like poetry. Because would it be fair to say that it pretty much kind of is? It's just with like adding like some sort of like like musical composition in the background. You also want to be sure to include this is similar to deciding a theme, but this is closer to like the lyrics, like like the the more figurative kind of deal. So you want some sort of like central like theme. So is this more of like an emotional kind of moment? Like, do you want your figurative language to reflect that? Do you want to reflect that it was more of a battle? Like maybe like you were like it was like trying to move mountains or something like that, or do you want to just be just want to reflect that it's more of a, like a rest, like oh it was like walking on clouds or something like that, you know, something very basic with the lyric ideas. You also want to be sure to start putting together like what you like if you think like something sounds really cool, I would say most of the time it'd be a good idea to just write that down and just see what other people think. Kind of the no idea is really like a bad idea as long as you can get it down on paper. It's always down to like you always have the opportunity to revise afterwards. And then pretty much the last step, repeat steps 3 to 4 until you're happy with the results. So as long as you can get something down on the page, then anything's good to go. So yeah, if you guys can go ahead and take care of the tips and writing as well.
Yeah, sure. So first thing, don't tunnel vision on rhyming, right? Rhyming it's used obviously in a lot of songs, but like don't lose the don't lose the meaning of your song just because you want to make something rhyme. There are plenty of songs that do not rhyme at all, and are still like very, very good. Yeah, so make your net. Whoa. Let's start over. Make your narrative message count first. Your tools are only as good as your execution. So right, like you gotta make it good. And don't let like write first, write really what you want to say. The rhymes come secondary to your actual message. So the next thing, symbolism is key. So show, don't tell. Use idioms, similes, be creative. So right, just like write some stuff, write some symbols. Yeah. And then the last thing is like it's it's whoa, what is happening? It's easier to edit a bad page than a blank one. So basically, like it's one of those things where it's like writing is rewriting, right? Just start writing something. This goes for basically everything that is creative, right? Just get something there as a starting point. If it's bad, that's fine. Then you at least have something to go from. What not to do. It's better than having So always, there's writer's block and stuff like that. If you're stuck, just try and write something. It does not have to be good. If you spend enough time on it, it will get better.
We definitely wrote that line originally ourselves and definitely didn't take it for granted already.
Now for the activity. So we will be taking some songs from the Strike repository. This is where they come in. Shout out to Strike for letting this happen. We'll be taking some songs from the repository and we'll be creating at least like a couple verses that match like the genre's energy. I believe that's some of the tracks from the request we put out.
They're on the Discord.
They are on the Discord. So
there are more in the Strike Discord server.
Yeah.
There's one of the most recent threads has songs in it, and may or may not have been placed in the Strike repository, but you're more than welcome to use those as well.
But yeah, so we'll be taking a couple of songs like provided by Strike, and we'll be associating or we'll be writing our own lyrics to match with that. But you got to remember that the purpose of this activity is to envision how these songs will play in whatever game you imagine, right? So of course you can write them in isolation, but you have to remember there's probably some sort of like narrative like correlation to playing the song of like where it happens. So like you could be given like a very catchy kind of very like mellow song, but is that going to play like in the beginning of the game, or is that going to play like somewhere in the midpoint or at the end? Just keep that in mind. But basically the overarching question is, what kind of experience are you giving the player? That's pretty much it. I'll really focus on. And I'm pretty sure on the next slide
One thing I will add, if for some reason you're not really feeling like a vibe with any of the songs in our repository, then you're more than welcome to find another song or use one of your own. So if you would like to go down that path, so you're not limited to just the Strike repository. Highly recommend.
You could also just parody like other existing songs and then write your own lyrics if you are feeling that creative. Yeah, we won't judge. But yeah, on the next slide over, we also have some couple wheels that we've provided for people watching a recording. You can check out the archive after this recording. This presentation will contain the links in that links to the wheels as well. So yeah, for everyone here in person, we can provide these links into the Discord if you guys are going to be writing on there as well. So yeah, I think right now we can just dedicate the time to just focusing on the activity now. So yeah, right. In that case, I'm gonna go ahead and post the links from the slides onto the Discord. So yeah, 90s. Yeah, I had to put that there. I had to put that there because last time. Something to like, it's just a little bit of context. So that the Winifred's wheel was for our very first like fall workshop, where it had a bunch of like random ideas that people were given to like write like little paragraph blurbs about. And the very first thing that we got was 90s sitcom. And we were trying to find inspiration on YouTube, and we found a very old series that came out in the 90s. Whoa, shocker! Called The Davis Rules, where it was essentially just a sitcom about a family man being in charge of a school all of a sudden after he was given like a promotion to like principal, even though he didn't want to be principal. And it's basically just that's the show. Like that's just the entire premise of the show is him figuring out how to be a principal. This is important context because maybe a particular someone in this room wants to write about a Davis Rules lyrics kind of parody going on. Maybe I don't know if you guys are open to it. So yeah, we should also like play some music here in the background just so everyone has a chance to.
We could play the one we didn't play.
Oh yeah. Let's go back real quick. So we'll be listening to, I think it's called Full Moon Full Light. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't actually listen to this.
I can't like unsee Leo like moving into the ensemble.
Okay, oh my god. I really need to start playing this game. I really enjoyed Persona 5, so I'm missing out. I feel like.
I have Persona 4 and I have like 3.
Oh,
It's like a 70-hour game.
Oh, which one's the most?
the emotional beats and the Winifred's feel both. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for fine day and not for the music.
Yeah.
So many, there's nothing. It's all-
Which links are you posting?
Um,
Oh, sorry. It's good. Yeah.
Did you just go?
No, I know, but I was just gonna say because I just finally opened the links. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so the links will be available in the audio channel. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. So they'll be in both in audio and writing. If you want to take a look at those wheels to help you get some writing ideas going, for the tracks provided in the Strike repository and in the Strike general channels of this game. So we'll go ahead and show that off real quick. So for people online, if you ever feel like you want to like try to contribute to this as well, if you ever want to, they'll be available in the some of the songs are available in the Strike General chat on Discord, on the VGDC Discord. It's probably not gonna show up for it. Yeah, so just keep that in mind if y'all want to check that out as well. If you ever want, but we also have the audio and writing channels available if you just want to like last minute drop in your own lyrics as well. Yeah, I do see that. Thank you. Lots of links. Wow, I didn't know they were able to, like, the presentation was able to sing two voices at the same time. Yeah, that was cool.
So now we're just
Yep, pretty much.
right lyric.
Right lyrics. Ooh.
You do not have to sing them to us,
Unless you want to.
unless you really want
Yeah,
to.
unless you really want to sing it.
We're welcome to say no if you want to sing it. Understand if you don't want to.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
Did you mention that they had like sad lyrics or something? I looked it up.
Yeah.
Could be right.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
They have what's the line? Y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance.
That's exactly what I was referencing. That's exactly what I'm referencing.
Not that I only know the chorus, but it'll still.
Yeah, I
Oh,
I just know, hey,
yeah.
You're like, damn, that's pretty. Anyway.
But yeah, it's kind of powerful that you're able to just hide a lot inside lyrics, but most of the time people are just gonna be listening to the actual melody of a track instead. But yeah, it's also kind of fair to say that the first time I ever found out that lyrics can do that was not from Heya, but instead from Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That is easy.
there's one Christmas song, which, I think it's like White Winter Kim or something, which,
Oh.
I know the Pentatonics version, that's literally talking about basically a kid's head getting cut off.
I remember that, yeah.
How is that supposed to mean anything?
It's
It's
really
on my plate.
confusing because it talks about like a scarf of red and then the head topples over,
Yeah,
which implies the
What the
neck has
hell?
been bleeding.
I know exactly what song
Okay.
you're talking about.
Also,
Yeah, I know it's a
sorry.
song recording.
I thought it
Oh
was
dear.
just actually, like literally.
Hello,
what
Hudson.
intention-
So, you joined in a little bit late, but basically we've been covering a lot about. No. Oh my God. So basically, we've been covering a lot about how game lyrics work in a lot of like game OSTs and why they're important. But basically, the activity was to basically write your own verses for a couple of tracks provided by the Strike repository. Shout out to Strike as well for letting us have this happen. But if you don't want to use some of the songs provided on either the Strike repository or on the Strike Discord, you can also just go ahead and find a song that you really like that doesn't have lyrics, and write your own lyrics for that as well. You're also not required to sing them. I think that should be mentioned over and over again. But if you want to, then you totally could. But pretty much we're just focusing on how to incorporate writing lyrics in game tracks and how you can make that track like related to like maybe narrative beats going on. So you can maybe have like a really upbeat song play in the beginning and be focused about what the hero's journey is going to be like. Like the hero's journey. This is the hero from the hero's journey. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat. Oh, you just someone. Give me a second. Is there a link for the slides? No, but I can go ahead and add that into the archive now, or I could just add the link directly. So, yeah, okay. Haley will be posting the link into the drive as well as the chats as well. Yeah. Thank you again. All the links are also available on the Discord for both the idea wheels, the Strike thread where some of the songs have been posted, as well as the Strike repository link. Yeah, of course, no problem. But yeah, we're pretty much just gonna be focusing on writing notes. Trying to write a couple on my phone. Tracks I just heard right now. Thank you.
It's hard.
Writing is
That's like very hard feel. I like I've written this evil sign called question. No allowed version.
evil sign. Instead of going like bum, 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 it goes bum, 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 bum. Like it just goes down like notes.
Yeah, it's like when they flip all the notes.
Pretty much. It's just pretty much that.
So I was like, it sounds 90s, and I was like, well.
Yeah, I really know the word. Saying that you can't do.
I mean, unless you do.
You have to measure every single note. I think it just feels consistent.
I mean, that's fine.
Like Joyce went to Joyce one with your feet.
What was I peak?
Yeah.
I peaked that week. Yes. I peaked that. 2018.
Are you doing?
I don't think, I feel like I'm close like. Oh, and that was a peak in,
Yeah.
you can start going to. Oh, look, like. And then it was the surface. And then this is one of my other solutions. Right around, this is what I'm thinking, I think I could. And then right here is where my rocket pebbles from. And then I have it put this.
When you submit it? I can submit it.
Okay, yes.
That's why. It was the.
Oh. Oh.
And it's like a long way. It's that. The only thing that was permanent, but when it's 99%, that you forgot to uninstall this thing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So yes, unfortunately, we did reach the end of time, but of course, the presentation, all the slides will be available on all of both the audio and writing channels. Just want to say before we end off the presentation, I'll just go ahead and switch the contact real quick. So of course, if you have any more questions about audio writing, we have all our Discords there available. You can also just find it on the VGDC Discord. But yeah, we'll be around. We'll be able to answer questions about this workshop or anything else you have in mind.
For actual context, this is Tim and I'm Haley.
Yes.
It's not actually Markiplier, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is not Markiplier.
I got somebody.
This is not Markiplier. I'm not Markiplier. I'm sorry. Sorry for breaking the immersion. But yeah, thank you guys for coming.
Thank
Next
you.
meeting will be audio. If you guys don't mind sharing what you guys want.
Yeah, sure.
Our Pokemon collab.
Pokemon next week. Audio.
Pokemon effects.
Yeah, covering a lot of how to make them really cool. Really cool. And for writing, we'll be covering it'll be more of a chill kind of workshop. We'll be covering a pretty cool game that I found online called Frantic Fanfic. It's as chaotic as you think it sounds with making custom fanfics. There we go. It's similar to the Spintle, the Spintle game when we played Spintle, where we were like writing custom stories. But for this one, it works a little differently, where we're given different characters that we all make for each other, and we just try to write stories based on the characters we're given. So we're writing fanfics on people that we just like get randomly.
Oh, it's an improv.
It's more of like an improv game, yeah. It's similar to Spintle, but not really, where instead of choosing whoever gets the most votes for like a line, it's writing our own fanfics separately, and we're all sharing like what we wrote for just given characters. So similar but different.
Also for today's activity, if you would like to share whatever lyrics you've written, or if you'd like to do anything else in your free time, you're more than welcome to share those in the audio channel or the writing channel. Whether you want to just hum or tune to the lyrics, or you just want to paste the lyrics that you've written, anything is fine. We'd love to see your work.
And yeah, thank you guys for coming. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you again to everyone that joined online. Thank you, Hudson, as well. Thank you to anyone else watching the recording, and we'll say goodbye. All right. Take care, y'all.
Hope to see you next week.
Hope to see you next week. Oh my God.